at it.
Welcome back.
Hey, y'all.
Episode 57, Spiritual Side of Death. But before we get into that, I'm one of your hosts, Syn Delano. This has been a really, really heavy week, and I don't know how to convey this to other people. It's one of those types of things you can't really ask. Well, I don't know how to ask for help, even though I need support.
Correct.
During this time. But having to dig up all this stuff just to go back to court is draining. And then in the middle of it, my attorney's mother passes away. And she passed away stage 4 cancer. She was supposed to, she lives 6 extra years.
Right.
But I immediately had space for my attorney, but at the same time, I'm just like, this is prolonging my shit.
Yeah.
Right. So it's super draining to deal with that. So I don't too much have like good things. Oh, yeah. I will say I'm excited about Tony coming in October. So all week I've just been looking at my old man crush, which is Raphael Sadiq. I hope he sees me. Remember when I had the crush on T.I. and he touched my face? Raphael Sadiq, if you're listening, just touch my face.
Girl, they got to come down in the audience.
Make sure your hands are clean.
We ain't in the front row, but we pretty close.
I mean,
we got good seats though.
Listen,
we got super good seats.
You know, I believe Yancey is on tour with them.
Oh Jesus!
I'd be like, Steph, where you sit?
Look,
go sneak over there one time.
Down front.
I have a funny Raphael Sadiq story. I might tell you that one day. But
I remember this story.
Madness.
Yeah,
okay.
Madness.
That's been my week. I won't belabor it. Who are you and how's your week been?
Hi, I'm Tam Joyner, and my week has been. That's about it. It's just been. It's just been. I've just been working and just contemplating life, and do I get a new car? Do I keep the old car? Like it's a lot going on in my head. I did. Wait a minute. So this is something that's very lighthearted in a sense. I'm going away for my birthday. I bought a plane ticket for my birthday. I bought a plane ticket and I used my Sky Miles, which took $250 off the cost of my ticket. But the ticket at the time when I purchased it was over $1,000. Okay. So now that same ticket to go to the same destination on the same days at the same time is the cost that I wound up paying for it after my 250 miles. I want to get a new ticket and use my old miles so I can get it for cheaper.
Listen,
Delta, how do you do this? Because that's not fair.
You need to call them.
I'm gonna have to go down to the customer service desk at the airport.
Yep.
And it'd be like, okay, this is what I'm trying to do. What y'all trying to help me do?
And see. Hey.
And see, because if I can get it for cheaper, of course, my sister was like, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to keep it the same. Girl, you didn't even use your miles. You need to go ahead and revamp and then get the extra money on.
Yes.
Child, at some point, I'm going to go to the airport and be like, hey, look, this is what it is.
If you never know unless you ask, right?
Right. This is what it is. So what are we doing? Because I feel like I need some money back. Like if I can get some money back, I want to get my money back. I'm gonna still use my miles because that was the whole point of collecting them.
Yes.
So that I could do it. I also would like to give a shout out to the app Capital because I have saved over $1,000 towards my trip. Even though my trip is paid for, I will have over $1,000 to play with when I go.
Good for you.
So
I love that for you.
I'm excited.
Nothing's worse than being on vacation on a budget.
Ugh. Yeah, I'm not.
I know some people do it.
Yeah.
There's no shame.
No.
But it's so much more fun when you don't have to, okay, I'm going into next month's grocery money.
Yeah, like it was, I mean, it was there last year when I had saved up money. It was for when I went to Dubai. I used some of it when I was in Jamaica. But by the time I went to Dubai from June to like December, by the time I actually went, I still had about $1,200.
Just bring me back a dope ass souvenir. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
I
don't be like,
expensive.
Look, no. But I mean something that's you. I'm always try to, when I go places, I always try to think of things that, like, when we went to the Harry Potters, I tried to get you something I got you something from the Harry Potters. So
some socks.
I got you some socks. So I mean, every time I go, I try to think like, what did I get you in Jamaica? Did I get you something in Jamaica? Did I get you liquor?
Yes.
I was like, yeah.
You did.
Okay.
You did.
So I try to think of things that I know that people like when I go places. I myself collect magnets from my refrigerator, which I haven't put up on my new.
No, you haven't. Yeah, I didn't see any up there.
I need to put them up. I collect magnets that say where I am, and then in bold, like in lettering, it says the city name. And then,
yes.
So that's been my thing. And now I'm doing Starbucks mugs that say the city. Like when I went to Dubai, I was at Ferrari World. Please don't ask me why. We went to Ferrari World. And I bought Starbucks mugs, one that says Abu Dhabi, because we were in Abu Dhabi at the time, and one that said Dubai. They're the prettiest mugs that I own. Like, I love them. I'm talking too much. Let's go.
We can talk about what's been in our speaker box. Of course, the great Victoria Monet's album came out. It is a good listen, like all the way through. You don't have to skip anything. She is for real R&B, y'all. Like, I love it so much. I was looking up, like, let me find out as much stuff as possible about her. She's from California.
You didn't know that?
I did. I thought she was from Southern California.
Oh.
She's not. She's from Northern California. It's crazy. She was born in Atlanta, but she grew up in Sacramento. Sacramento is 2 hours from Oakland.
Right.
So I was like, that's why I like her. Because she my kind of Cali girl. I love it. But if you haven't listened to it, her listen through, I listen through it the same way I do all of Lucky Day's music. Like, you don't have to skip anything. It's fucking, I think Jaguar 2 is better than 1.
I've heard that's what people are saying. I haven't listened to it in its entirety. Like, I've heard a song, but I want to listen to it like sequence wise.
Let me tell you something. Victoria Monet doesn't have like one of those church voices. No. And I say church voice like Beyonce got a church voice, right? Jennifer Hudson has a church voice.
Yeah.
She has a very soft voice, but it's not soft like Alex Isley. It's just, I don't know how to explain it.
But the thing about, I just love Victoria Monet because I feel like she gets it. Like, and I know that me saying she gets it just doesn't make any sense. But as far as the industry goes, she gets it because the industry's kind of raggedy, but she really has taken note and did her homages to the people and made things flow like the way it's supposed to.
The music is just fucking great, and I feel like I want to hear more R&B.
But I have a sidebar about her. Somebody was like, when in the video, the On My Mama video, when she was dressed like Sierra, somebody was like, what is Victoria Monet been doing? She looked like she in good shape. I was like, her fucking boyfriend is a personal trainer. Are you kidding me?
He was like,
of course she's gonna look
we're
good.
Working out together.
Yeah. I mean, he even got the baby doing exercises, so it is what it is.
I love that for him.
Yes.
I just brought that up because it's great music. But what I've actually been listening to, and this has been on repeat, Bad, Bad, Not Good, Time Moves Slow. And for anyone who doesn't know this song, it's on Adult Swim. They play a little blurb of it, but they don't play. Let me think of the words. Running away is easy.
Yep.
It's the living
It's hard. Yes.
That song was by Bad, Bad, Not Good, but they sing the whole song. It's not just the clip you hear off Adult Swim.
Because there is a shit ton of rappers on TikTok that took that sample. Because I even posted one. And people were just rapping over the. First of all, every time that song would play on Adult Swim, I'll be like, this is not helping me. I need to rest.
The real song is actually slow.
Uh-huh.
And it's actually sad.
No.
I've been in a very sad mood, y'all. Like,
no.
And this episode is about spirituality. Let me tell you, the universe sometimes be cruel, and I know not to take it personal because you can't define the universe by that, right?
Right.
But there have been songs coming on my shuffle that have not played on my shuffle for fucking years. And for some reason, they have been songs that have to do with He Who Shall Not Be Named on my podcast. Voldemort. So I've been a wreck.
Now you can use Voldemort now because it's gone through the rounds.
Yes,
I used it.
Yes.
Nisha used it. Now it's your turn.
I have another sad song.
Oh, good God!
I know. I've been going through it. SZA's Drew Barrymore. That's been on repeat.
Look.
Been crying for him.
It's okay.
It's not okay, friend. It's okay. It's okay. God damn it.
It's okay. Look. Anytime you're feeling blue, these 3 words, woo woo woo.
My sad music. Where have we been listening? Actually, Logan was just like, Mom, what is this? Because when I was cooking the song, and she was like, are you okay? I was like, it's on shuffle. I'm not doing this on purpose.
The baby was like, you all right?
She did. She was like, I don't think you're okay.
Okay, so my songs are a little bit more upbeat.
Yes, they are. They're a lot more.
So again, anybody that knows me knows, my obsession with soca music. This year, this soca season, I kind of fell off completely and totally. I usually know all the new songs as soca season winds down. But carnival season winds down because October, last carnival of the season, Miami. It's at the end of October. So it doesn't start. Then we rev back up again starting in February in Trinidad. So Bungie Garland, one of my favorite soca artists. And he has a song called The Struggle. Now, as far in this particular song, he's rapping very rapidly in the tune, it reminds me very much of like, it's not as fast as Busta Rhymes and Look at Me Now, but it gives you that feel that he's rapping that fast through like the whole song. So and it's called The Struggle, but it's basically about, like, my life has been this, and you are saying that your life is a struggle, but you have all these things. Like, you don't really know what struggle is. So let me tell you. So he talks about the struggle. So it's really good. But the funny thing is that he's saying these things, but it's like a really like jump up, like kind of song. So it's goofy. Like if you start listening to it, you'll be like, wait.
It doesn't go.
Should I be jumping like this? Then I want to take you back to some old school. I went to my family reunion recently, and we had a church service, and the pastor is a cousin I'd never met until that weekend, which is crazy. But he was saying telling the story how he met his wife, and his wife had been together for 46 years. And he was saying that he met his wife at a party. And I was just like, okay, he was in college, he was at a party. But what he said was, and it made me think about these old songs, it made me think about my grandfather, is that because he said he was DJing the party because my grandfather taught him how to DJ. So it was just kind of like, oh, then it made me kind of feel some kind of way at that moment. But a lot of old 80s R&B and things, my grandfather played for me as a child because he was a DJ and he DJ'd parties. So he like would test out songs. Like I was the child tester. I have no idea why. But
Probably
so
because your ass was always dancing.
yes, because I have ADHD. But that's like a whole different
You
thing.
just love to dance too.
But I still do love to dance. So everybody who knows me knows that. But I think that's a part of my disorder. I'm undiagnosed anyway.
And this is why I don't entertain. You get your diagnosis.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my diagnoses. But one of the songs is Princess is the artist, and the song is Say I'm Your Number One. And like you hear me say the title and you're like, I don't know what that is. But if you played it, you would be like, oh my God, I forgot about this song. So I've been hearing that and I'm just like, oh my God. And then while in the search for that, I found my favorite artist of all time is D-Train Williams. Y'all don't know nothing about D-Train. Like, I know some of y'all are listening to this and like, who are these old ass people she's talking? Please take the time and go listen to D-Train Williams. Keep On is one of all of his songs were good. Like, yes, but that was one of the popular ones. It was called Keep On. But he never made a bad song, and I just hate that he wasn't more popular, like mainstream popular. Yeah. Like, but so I've been in late 80s, early 90s party mode. Like, so that's where some of the best music kind of, my mind has been the past couple of days just listening to music. So yes.
I'm adding those songs to my 80s playlist too.
Child, the good ones.
So I can go jam out.
Yes.
We've had great music. Now to move on to The World is a Ghetto.
The world is a ghetto.
This is to focus on the people on planet Earth. This is not planet Earth, we're saying, is ghetto. The world is a ghetto. The people that make up the world. Because if you removed it, the planet would be fine without us.
Yeah, because the planet is sick of us. That's why the animals are attacking y'all. Leave them damn animals alone.
Right. Climate change is trying to, they're just like, listen, there's no asteroid nearby to like kind of be like swerve on these hoes and kill them all. So what we're gonna do is we just gonna turn the oven up a couple degrees and make y'all sweat it out.
Wait, turning the oven up so much they found new animals in the deep sea. No, nope.
Don't come out here killing us.
Leave that megalodon down there underneath.
And,
I don't want that.
And COVID is just like, hi, it's perfect breeding ground to evolve on you hoes.
COVID is like, I'm back. I never really left. I never left. But I just wanted to make sure y'all remember me. I'm here.
Listen, these humans are determined to make The Walking Dead a real thing. So my ghetto thing, I didn't tell you on purpose because I wanted you to hear this. And then I'm going to insert some logic here.
I'll be so surprised when she says stuff I just don't know.
How menopause affects women of color.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you this. There's been many a times that the male Homo sapiens have shown their ass on social media and they want to tell the female Homo sapiens how we should behave, regardless of our ages, right? But they have no idea that we can start our periods as young as 8. Some people have gotten their period at 6. That's kind of rare, but having a period at 10, that's not so rare. It's not.
Not rare.
I started my period at 10.
I was at 11.
Okay. So. I know a slew of women who started their period between the age of 9 and 12. Mm-hmm. Okay. So our bodies kick in a lot sooner than you're supposed to. So why would you not believe that menopause would start earlier? Why? Why would you insist that menopause is still going to start at 50 for someone who started their period at 8 or 9 years old? wouldn't it stand to reason from a logical, scientific
standpoint,
right, that menopause would start early?
Yes.
All you fucking doctors. And this is the issue that I have with just people in general. We are all humans, right? None of us are perfect, which means we're fallible. We can make mistakes,
yeah,
right? So it doesn't matter if you have a degree. You can still make a mistake.
Yes.
That doesn't mean everything that comes out of your mouth is going to be facts. Again, there was a time when doctors said that women who had what is now called PMS, it used to be called hysteria. Right? We have hormonal changes that do not happen to male Homo sapiens. And they told us that we were crazy. Mm-hmm. We had no control, or we still don't have no control over these hormonal shifts that happen to us, right?
Correct.
So, symptoms of menopause can be more severe than they are for white women and last longer. Doctors don't always realize this. Why? Why? You motherfuckers went to medical school for so long.
Look, you can see my face. I'm like, I'm so tired.
You've been doctors for decades, right?
I'm tired.
But you're just now figuring this out in 2023. Okay.
Thanks.
But I'm saying this because I have experienced this. You're way too young. There's no way you started menopause. I doubt you're even perimenopausal. I've been getting this for years, right? Danette Fogel, a 65-year-old retired school teacher in New York, remembers it was the guffaw of her gynecologist when she, at 34, noticed changes in her otherwise regular menstrual cycle, which is a hallmark symptom of perimenopause. Let me tell you something. I get a period 4 times a year. And as much as people are just like, well, you have an IUD. Okay, bitch, since you know everything about me and my reproductive organs, I was getting it 4 times a year before I put the IUD back in. Why don't you go mind your coochie? Okay? But I started perimenopause at 40. It literally is like I woke up and I'm getting hot flashes. Like, what the fucking fuck? Did y'all know perimenopause can last like,
oh my God,
until your menopause happens? So it can last 13 to 15
fucking
years.
ever.
Yeah. So most women don't begin perimenopause until their 40s, but some studies have found that Black women tend to start the transition earlier than people of other races.
It's stress related.
So let me tell you this. Right. I'm saying I've had perimenopause since I was 40. It's not true. I've had it in my 30s.
Oh, good.
But nobody wanted to listen to me. Nobody wanted to listen to me. I had it because the hot flash started when I was in LA.
Oh my God. First of all, remember when I was having them probably like last year, I was having them like every night at the same time. Mm-hmm. You know, I haven't had them in a while, like in months.
Good for you.
And I love that for you. I'm totally going the holistic route, trying to find things to take so that I don't have them.
Me too.
Yes, because I'm like because that is
night sweats.
Know. It's awful.
Night sweats.
Oh my God, it's awful.
Night sweats are like you don't know like disappointment, self-disappointment until you wake up in a pool of your own fucking sweat. Like literally you have so much sweat when you stand up, you feel it running down your back into your ass crack. I have in the night undressed myself when I was asleep because I was so hot. Like, are you kidding me? With the air conditioner and the fan on full blast, I am sweating. Yes. What's happening? You have to change your sheets and take a shower at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. It's awful. But this is not menopause yet. Right. And it started very early. So I think it's very ghetto that these doctors be telling us they don't know. They'll tell you they don't know what's wrong with you, but it's not when we asked, like, what is it? I had this young lady, and I say young lady because she was a lot younger than me. She was my OBGYN. I loved her to death, and I hate that she left me. Oh, she left me to go do the baby thing. Not have her baby, but to go deliver babies. And she's the one who is just like, I don't need to run no labs on you. She's like, why would I charge you money just to tell you that you're in perimenopause? She was like, I'm not going to take your blood. I'm not going to run that panel. She was like, it's going to be expensive. You have all the symptoms. She was like, I've diagnosed you.
Hello.
She was like, now, if you want me to run the panel, I can. She was like, but she was like, I know you're not in menopause yet. She's like, but you're definitely perimenopausal. Like, she was like,
well, there's that.
We have all the symptoms.
Look at that.
Yeah. A Black woman.
I am not a Black.
Okay. So this older Black lady, she said to the doctor, I think I'm starting menopause. And he laughed at her as if it was the most ridiculous thing he had ever heard. And not only that,
he's fired.
He called his nurse in and said, can you believe this woman? Like, this old lady was not even in the room. You see what we have to go through?
I can't do it.
Ghetto. Okay? And I'm tired of it. I'm tired. We have no help in this. And I always have to shout out Omi Sade. She does the podcast on being Black and menopausal.
Mm-hmm.
I follow Omi Sade Burton, I think.
Yes.
Or Burnett. I don't know how to say her name, but she's this delightful Black woman with white hair. And she be talking about menopause. And I love her for that because don't nobody talk to me about no fucking menopause. I'm out here winging it in this bitch, okay?
Baby, it's so many of us out here winging it in
this ghetto.
So that is super ghetto. But let's take you back. Remember, I got off of Florida? I'm back on it. Back on it. Florida, I hate you. I do. So today, 3 people are dead in Jacksonville, Florida, after a racially motivated shooting at a Dollar Tree. Okay, so I have things to say. First of all, young man, you had a gun with swastikas all over it, AR-15. You tried to get onto the Black people's HBCU campus, and the security was like, no, no ma'am, no ham, no burger. Get on out of here. So, because you couldn't get on the campus to kill people, you went to the Dollar Tree up the street, and you shot 2 Black women and a Black man. But here's the thing is that if you want to be bold and bad with your anti-Blackness, and you want to be the supreme racist like you're supposed to, why you shoot yourself? Why you ain't stand up in your glory and be like, I am the murderer.
He's a punk ass
of the Blacks? Because you're a scary ass white man. All of y'all are scary ass white people. You kill me. Like, I'm sick of it. I'm so over this shit. But like, first of all, condolences to those families that lost those people. Mm-hmm. Prayers down for you, killer. Prayers down. I'm glad you took yourself out before we could take you out. That sounds awful. I know it sounds super awful. But I mean, I just, at this point, I'm tired because I just want to mind my business. Mm-hmm. And that's all. Those people went to Dollar Tree to get some snacks.
Right.
And when do we go to the Dollar General? When do we go to get snacks?
To mind our business.
To mind our
people who in the Dollar Tree, they like, we don't be wanting nobody. No, we don't want no smoke with nobody.
We just be going there to get some Cheetos, some K-Cups, and a bottle of shampoo. Like, I'm in here just minding my business. And you come in here, Blacks. Because I know there was more than 3 people in the store. This is the thing, is that you only shot the Black people. Because I know there were It's a Dollar General. I know it's more 3 people and stuff. Like, that's just in general. So, but you only shot the black people. This is what I'm saying. You're a pussy ass bitch.
Yep.
Because you took yourself out. You're a pussy ass bitch because you couldn't stand in what it was. If that's what you stood for, stand for it. Stand for it. Florida, I hate you. You're a breeding ground. I hate Florida.
For cowards.
Yes. Like, and here's the thing is that, like, I have an aunt that lives in Florida. I want to visit her. I don't want to go to Florida. Like, I love her, but I don't want to go to Florida. I don't want to give Florida any money.
Auntie, we might have to do a Zoom call.
I mean, it's just, you know, she's older. She's down there by herself. I want to go visit. I'd be hesitant than a mug because I don't feel safe in Florida. And you know, she white, so she lives somewhere where it's lots of white people.
Oh, that's your uncle's
wife. Yeah, she came to the family reunion.
Oh,
yeah. So
that for her.
So like, I told her, I was like, I'ma come.
Because I want to go. Your white auntie.
No, because I want to go. Because like, she lived close to the beach. Like, I want to go. But like,
plan a trip to see white auntie.
I don't know. They gotta get. The Satan gotta go before I can get down there.
Fuck out, so
He's got to go before I can go down there. Because I want to visit my white auntie. She got a whole house. She said y'all can even take the car where y'all want to go. Like, it's the setup. Like, I want to go see my aunt.
We just gotta get there safely.
Florida, I hate
Mad
you.
Max.
Right now, Florida.
Yes.
And it's Mad Max beyond Thunderdome. That's what it is. That's what's going on in Florida. Like, crazy. Like, lunacy is happening in Florida. And that was just, and the crazy thing is that it's so many mass shootings in the United States. Like, this didn't really buzz anybody.
Because I didn't know.
Yeah, it didn't really buzz anything. It was only 3 people.
Those 3.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, I think this is a good segue into episode 57. Spiritual side of death. Because even though those people, we didn't know those people. I mean, they had families who care about them.
Yeah.
And they didn't deserve that shit.
Not at all.
So these people experience very violent deaths. You know, they probably just, I'm gonna run up to the Dollar Tree to get some foil so I can cook this baked chicken. They never made it home. So it's like, this is so fucking unfair.
Correct.
They deserved to live. And this motherfucker who took their life, like, what happens to this motherfucker who cowardly shot these motherfuckers and then took his own life? Like, he deserves to be fucking punished.
Yes.
Okay. But he doesn't get his day in court because he's just like, fuck you, niggers, and was out.
Look. And then dipped.
So when we talk about the spiritual side of death, I have to say this. When I was a little younger, and it may still be the case, my sister used to get upset at me because I refer to these things as gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on what religion you are, excuse me, y'all, I'm from Taco beat my teeth.
Hey, we assume
religion you are, you call it whatever you want, right? My mom's side of the family has gifts. I'm pretty sure my dad's side does too. They don't talk about those things. I've had more people from my mom's side of the family talk about it. And one of the reasons I love the movie Constantine is because the twins in the movie, they could see dead people. But one sister denied her gifts. The other sister embraced it, but they threw her in the loony bin for it, right? But the twin that didn't embrace it finally ended up coming around and being like, yeah, I can see him. I just didn't want to tell nobody because of how they treated my sister. Now, this was my line of thinking before Constantine ever came out, before I even knew Constantine was a comic book.
Right.
Me and my sister have the gift. She has visions. I have dreams. And I know some people are like, aren't those the same thing? My sister could be sitting here and have a vision.
Right.
It literally doesn't come to me unless I'm asleep. And that is one of the reasons I have insomnia. Understood. My father and these terrible fucking dreams. So my sister, and this has to do with the spiritual side of death, because so many people think that you cannot possess spirituality or have a spiritual relationship if you are not attached to some type of religion.
Mhm.
And the fact that this stuff happened to me and my sister as children, for everybody who doesn't know, I've mentioned this several times, we were raised Jehovah's Witnesses. This was not okay to
No.
admit to. Like, this was, they referred to this as demonic possession. So we couldn't talk about this stuff, but we knew it was very real, right? And so my sister, she's just like, I'm telling people, and I'm just like, so I wouldn't say anything. Like, you're not gonna sit up here and call me all these fucking things. I think I waited until I felt safe enough to be like, my mom was just like, your sister's crazy. And I was like, she's not crazy. And she was like, she believe in all of that voodoo stuff. And I said, it's real though. I said, it's not voodoo stuff, Mom. I said, stop acting like you don't have gifts too. My mom, she had her own things. This is not about her, so we're not going to talk about her. But as far as death, it was weird. My mom could tell when we were somewhere where there were spirits.
Yeah.
So we moved a lot. She was like, something bad has happened in this house. There are different types of, like, I don't know what you refer to it, different types of gifts that people have, like people who can keep plants alive.
Yeah.
They have a gift, right? People who can communicate well with animals, they have gifts. My mom, it was weird. Structures were kind of, she would walk in somewhere and be like, I don't like how this feels, and walk out. She used to acknowledge that ghosts were places. I never heard her say it around my dad.
Right.
But for some reason in our family, we have this weird connection to death.
Wow.
So I could have a dream and know people are going to die, or people are going to get sick, or they're or going to be in the hospital. My sister could have the exact same vision.
Yikes.
And we knew her boyfriend was going to get murdered.
Wow.
And we told them, I told the guys I knew, don't go wherever they were going to go that night. And they were like, what? And I said, I had a dream. And they were like, you're weird. My sister told them, they were like, how you and Tennille know the same thing? And I didn't know
that she had told
that
them.
She knew.
Wow.
He got shot in the head that night. He didn't die right away, but by the time he got to the hospital, I think he died in the hospital.
So how did those guys respond to y'all after all of that happened?
They said it was weird.
They just said y'all were weird.
Yeah, weird. Like, how did y'all know that? We don't know how we knew.
Yikes.
I knew when people would be in the hospital. I don't know where this knowing comes from, but it has, I attribute it to, there's a level of spirituality that people have, and I don't think religion has anything to do with it, right? So the same with like death. When my grandfather passed away, all my grandparents died like in a span, I want to say 4 years.
Okay.
All of them died within 4 years. My mom's mother and my dad's stepmother, his biological mother, and his father all died between, I want to say, 2012 and 2016. On my way to work in LA, you know, there's 2-hour traffic to get right. And the off ramp for my exit, I literally would sit there for 20 minutes. That's how long it took me to get off. I kind of blacked out one day. I used to black out because of my diabetes. Right. But I blacked out there, and my grandfather started talking to me.
Whoo!
And I was like, so my grandfather was a Jehovah's Witness when he passed away too. And so I was like, this is very weird because Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in this kind of thing. Right. But he came to me and he said, your dad, you need to talk to your daddy. And I was like, what? And this was after my dad had just had brain surgery. Okay. I had just come back from visiting him after his brain surgery. And so my grandfather was like, don't say nothing, just listen to what he got to say. And I was like, Grandpa. And then I came to, and the light had turned green. Weirdest shit ever. My dad called me 2 minutes later and was like, you got time to talk? I was like, Dad, I know you don't believe in this kind of stuff, and I know you think it's demonic, but Grandpa just told me you was gonna call me.
Oh, Lord.
And that's when my dad told me that disturbing fucking shit
that
about his life.
Yes, that you didn't
I
No,
didn't ask for this.
that you didn't ask for, but he told you anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
My grandmother, the one that they buried on my fucking birthday. When we moved to Norwalk, I don't know if I told you this. So me and Logan were in Southern California. When my grandmother was alive, she would sleep with the TV on. She would turn our TV on. The entire time we lived in that apartment in Norwalk, if we turned the TV off, she would turn it back on. Logan was like, "There's a ghost in here." And I was like, "I don't think it's come to do us any harm, Logan." And she was like, "It keeps turning the TV on." And I said, maybe you're rolling over on the remote control. I started sleeping in the living room and she would turn the TV on. And it would be on certain shows all the time, which she would always leave it on a certain channel so her shows would run. And I said, as long as you're not bothering us, you're welcome here. And she stayed there with us the entire time. When we moved to Oakland, our TV never came on by itself.
Oh, that's crazy.
It is.
That's wild.
Last one, and this is testimony to there is spiritual things that happen after people die, regardless of their religion.
Yes.
Right?
Very much so.
My sister told me my dad was fucking with her after he died. And she was like, he's not harming, he's just like playing tricks on me in the house. And some of the things she was saying, my dad used to play a lot of jokes on us.
Yes, I remember you always told me that he did that. Yeah.
He came in my apartment and it was late at night. I was asleep.
Where were you living then? Across the way?
Yes.
Oh, you never. I don't think you told me this.
I didn't tell anybody because he choked me in my sleep, and I could feel someone's hand choking me, and I couldn't breathe. And then he stopped, and I said, "You're not welcome here. Get the hell out and do not come back." And I haven't heard from him since.
Well, that's what somebody said. I saw that on something there. Like, if you experience that, you can say that and they will leave. Like, you can say those words, like, "You're not welcome here, please leave," and they'll leave.
But Tanila asked me, she was like, "Did Daddy come visit you?" I said, "Yeah." I told him he's not welcome here. He's not allowed in my house. And she's like, "Don't you think it's really weird that he came and he used to tell us this was demonism?" And I was like, because spirituality,
yeah, child, has nothing to do with religion.
You can connect it to your religion.
Yes.
Because I really do believe, Tamara, that religion is a tool to strengthen people's spirituality. But I don't think it's an absolute necessity for you to have a spiritual relationship. And obviously, me and my sister have always been pretty spiritual beings.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I don't think I'll ever subscribe to any religion, because my spirituality is alive and fucking well.
Right. I mean, well, you have to think, like, I grew up in a Baptist church. The church that I grew up in, my great-grandfather helped build. It's actually a city landmark in my hometown. Like, if you go to the new church, they have a stained glass window with my grandparents' name on it.
Really?
Like, yeah. So it's like, my whole family has been, I'm Baptist from the day I was born. So the notion that when I got to look, because I had started listening to hip hop, I wanted to be Muslim when I was in high school. Because, you know, all my favorite rappers were Muslim and I wanted to be Muslim. And my mom was like, "You've lost your ever loving mind." Like, she wouldn't let me be Muslim, she wouldn't let me lock my hair. Those were the two things I couldn't do when I was in high school. Now, I never became Muslim. I came close. Really, really close. But I did lock my hair. But like, spirituality and death, like, I always tell people, like, I went to my first funeral when I was about 3 or 4. I did not want to be there, but my aunt was my great aunt, Willa Pearl. Her name was Willie Pearl. That was her name. Not Willa. Willie Pearl was her name.
Country ass name.
Yes, I'm country. I'm proud of that. But it was I vaguely remember her as a child. She was a mean old lady. But that was like the first funeral that I went to. But, you know, I lost my grandmother when I was a senior in high school. My grandmother died literally like 4 days before my birthday. Like, it was either 4 days before my birthday, my grandmother passed away.
Damn.
But when my grandmother passed away and my grandfather was in the house alone, my parents moved in to take care of my grandfather. Because my grandfather was, excuse me, a diabetic and he wasn't taking care of himself. So, my mom had to do that for him. But what my mom told me was that when they moved into the house, they took the furniture, their old furniture out of the room, and they put my grandfather in a different room. Well, he was already in a different room, but they set him up in the other room, and they took the furniture out. And my mom always tells the story, her and my dad, how they went to bed sleep, and then the bed started rocking and moving. And my dad says to me all the time, if I wasn't there, I wouldn't believe anybody if they told me. So they couldn't figure out what it was. So I started looking it up because I wanted to, I'm nosy. I wanted to know. So what I came across was that when a spirit is still in a home and you move furniture, they no longer know how to get around in their space. And so my grandma was pissed. And so she shook the bed because she didn't know her way around the room anymore because all of her things were gone.
You know what?
So she shook them up.
That makes so much sense because even my mother was just like, it's so weird because it feels like your dad is still here. I hear weird things at night too. Yeah, because you started moving stuff.
Yes. Yeah, she's gonna hear that now. I mean, because if you start moving his stuff around and rearranging the room, you tell her to watch out for the rocking bed. It's coming. But yeah, so that was.
She don't sleep in that room.
Oh, she does. Okay, well then. But that was the thing, and like again, because my family is very Baptist, and they don't believe in the hoodoo and all this other stuff, but they will all attest to. Like that, like when my mom told the story, nobody in my family was like, we don't believe it. They was like, oh Lord, Jenny been in the house. Like it was like they accepted it. So it was like, so I feel like what y'all know that y'all are not telling, like what y'all are not telling people. So like me and Sunita have always had this conversation where my sister and I have this thing where when we're asleep, people will call out to us and wake us up. So every time I hear that, either I'll wake up and think it might be my sister, but it's never my sister, and it's usually in the middle of the night and we don't know. I think one of the weirder ones for me, my uncle, we were just talking about my aunt in Florida. She was married to my mom's older brother. He was the one, my mom is the baby, so he was right above my mother. So they were very, very close. He had cancer. And he fought the good fight, and it had just gotten to the point where it just spread through his body and it wasn't really anything he could do. And my family had gone down to Florida and they had to go visit him and see him when he was sick and when he was still able to kind of move around, but it had gotten to the point where he was just in so much pain that he couldn't really move. And my mom had called me because, they were so close. Like she had all the hope in the world that he was going to she was very much, it's up to God for him to decide, we gonna pray and, they believe in miracles and the whole thing, whatever. So, I was really, for me, it was hard to watch my mom because I knew it was the idea of losing the brother she was closest to was like going to devastate her. I knew that it was going to have a real huge effect on my mom. But they said he was still in the hospital and he was still all right. And I was in the bed sleep one night and my uncle, he came and he was like, hey, and I was like, hello. Like it was very clearly him saying my name because I recognize his voice. He said, hey, kind of just passing through. Like he didn't say anything other than just like hello. And I went back to sleep, and then my mom called me early in the morning and told me he died. So for me, it was kind of like, well, she called me in the morning and told me he died, but the time that he died was pretty much the time that I heard him. Like the times were very, very close. That when he transitioned, it was when I heard his voice. So that was very strange for me, but I would say it wasn't too strange because I have always heard the voices. I don't know who the voices. Sometimes they're people I know, sometimes they're people I don't know. And just like, and I, because my mother just had an incident where she heard a voice yelling at her because my dad was choking in his sleep, and they told her to wake up, and my mom hit him because the person screamed at her, and then my dad started breathing again. So my assumption is that, like you said, it comes from my assumption is that it comes from my mother's side of the family. Me and my mom have talked about it. I think that for me and my mom and my sister, it's something we've been afraid to totally fully embrace.
Yes.
And I think that I'm afraid to fully embrace it because I feel like once I open to it, it's going to be a flood. That's really what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of the voices at all.
Yeah.
But I feel like the amount of it, I feel like I would open the floodgates and it would be like all the time and I would never sleep.
Well, that's why I was just like, listen, I have several reasons for not wanting to sleep.
Yeah.
This is a big one. So, but I feel like, and when my grandmother was alive, she was just like, you don't fully utilize your gifts. And I think that's why I'm very, very particular about who I'm close to.
Yeah.
And because once I'm connected to somebody, I can't stop it.
Yeah.
If I'm supposed to know something, it's gonna be present.
Yeah.
And usually it's about very serious things. I wish I had dreams about who was finna win the lottery. And
I mean, come on.
Right?
Wait, stop playing. I never told you my lottery story dream that I did with my mama $5,000. Well, okay, go ahead.
You see what I'm saying? Like that. I would like that.
I dream about numbers. Like, but the dream that I told my mom, y'all are gonna laugh. I had a dream about Jay-Z.
What?
It was like super random.
It
was just like super random. Like I ran into Jay-Z and we had like a conversation. Like, and we didn't have a conversation about nothing. But when I woke up, I told my mom to play his birthday. I was like, play this. And my mom was like, all right. And then she played it, and like 2 days later, she called me. She was like, girl, when you dream about numbers, you called me immediately. I said, what happened? She said, I won $5,000 with that. So I mean,
you need to tap into your gifts. But this is
yes.
like, I feel like we are conditioned to be afraid of death.
Yes.
But I think that's because people are afraid of things that they don't know anything about. And there really is no way to fully know what happens at death. I feel like religions kind of create ideas for people to believe in. So, you have reincarnation, you have the resurrection, you have heaven, purgatory, and hell. You have different types of the afterlife, and we're only allowed to openly acknowledge some of these things.
Right.
When you acknowledge the ones that seem a little darker, then people label you as cuckoo, or they doing that bad religion, voodoo. Like, spirits are always associated with voodoo. And I think it's very weird because afterlife is talked about in the Bible all the time. First of all, you motherfuckers celebrate Jesus, and he came back to life 3 days after he was murdered.
But here's the thing, is that a lot of the stuff that they condemn in voodoo that y'all do already in the church. Like, those are already traditions in the church that are the same things that they do in voodoo. So I don't understand.
There's so many spiritual rituals associated with death. And I feel like, and this is very specific, anything outside of Christianity, people look at as bad. And I think that's very That's very damaging because it doesn't create space for people to openly acknowledge their dead loved ones. It's only in this defined space,
Yep.
right? So funerals, and we talked about repasts, those are okay, but there are other cultures where you literally celebrate the death all month long.
Right.
Right? Because you're celebrating this person's life. You're not really celebrating their death.
Right.
It's like we remember this person, and every day we have this thing that we're going to do that acknowledges them. So this is the literal house of mourning. So for
Correct.
30 days, this is where you guys come to acknowledge this person's passing and who they were in their current life.
Right.
But I feel like a lot of rituals around death, the spirituality isn't really centered.
Right.
And if it was, it wouldn't be so taboo. Like even us talking about this now, it's one of those types of things. Like I don't openly talk about this shit to all of my friends.
No.
Like I had people who were my friends who be like, "You're fucking weird," and it's like,
I mean,
why would you say that?
Like, like me saying this on this podcast, like I have literally only talked about this with like, besides my mom and my sister, you, Tangela, maybe one other person. Like it's not because it's not something that like comes up in conversation. So I'm okay having the conversation.
Yes.
Because I feel like I don't think that anything's weird about it. I think that sometimes when like whatever the gifts are means you're very directly connected to spirit. Like you have that within you that you're connected to. So I don't think there's any harm in it. And even though like I was born and raised a Baptist, and I feel like a lot of the rituals that we do, like it's just certain things that I know that we do in the Baptist church that are very similar again to what they do in voodoo. And even though other people like outside of Christianity, like my mother has never ever shunned like any other thing, like the whole burning the name in a silver bowl.
Yes.
And she was like, do what you got to do. Like so it's not like that. It's not that my mom is like, no, you can't do that. And then again, my dad is from Trinidad, so so he knows a whole lot about all of that stuff. Like him, the whole, ritual stuff, he doesn't believe in it, but he has his own rituals that he does at the church. So it's kind of like you can't say one and you doing the other, baby.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's the whole separation. Like it's weird because religions always want to be like, I'm better than this religion.
Right.
And it's like, this is a human experience we're all having. So your religious beliefs don't make you better than anybody else.
No, not
and
at
so,
all.
Sometimes the question comes up, well, what do atheists believe? And it's very weird because you don't have to have a religion or subscribe to a religion. You don't even have to believe that there is a man in the sky
Daddy,
to acknowledge death.
Right.
Like it's a real thing. It happens.
Yep.
And so I was reading an article, and this this lady was talking to her friend who was an atheist, and she was like, I think she had just recently lost someone, and she was like, I'm looking for emotional support. And, I don't know what really happens after, someone dies. And I want to know, but if you're going to tell me that they just turn into fertilizer, like lie to me, tell me something to make me feel better. And I just feel like, but that's a belief for some people, right, is that you do, like, you return to the earth. Like,
and that's it.
I think inserting God or a God or some type of deity or entity into the picture that says expressly, hey, I am responsible for everyone after they die, I think it gives people hope. Because we don't know, and we talked about this. Yeah. Nobody has come back from completely flatlining and never bouncing back to say, hey, motherfuckers, this is what happens when you die. It is a journey that we will get to experience once we take our final breath. So it's like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you what happened, but I do know that something is going on energetically, right? So we easily believe what scientists have told us is that energy never goes anywhere.
Right.
Like it converts into something else, it morphs into something else. So even nothing is something,
Right.
right? So when you die, we have energy all in our body. What happens, right? Do you just disperse yourself out into the ether to be absorbed and turned into something else? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's no explanation for death, but I think the spiritual side of death is knowing that these things aren't just mumbo jumbo.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
Now, you don't have to believe in it, just
No.
like I don't have to believe there's one true religion. I don't believe that shit. I think people believe in what comforts them.
Correct.
Right? I'm not going to shit on what comforts you, but you don't have a right to take your beliefs about death and try to force me to accept those because you can't accept what I believe.
Yeah.
Like,
that's not fair.
No, it's not.
No.
And it actually it minimizes people's spiritual experience with death. All of the experiences that I had, I don't care if you don't believe them.
Yeah.
They were very fucking real to me. Like, you can't tell me that I didn't feel pressure on my shoulder and on my neck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know some people will say, oh, that was sleep paralysis. I know what the fuck sleep paralysis feels like because I've had it. Okay.
Child, stop trying to tell me what my lived experience was. How about that?
Right. But I think it had, for some people, they have to make sense of death in a way that allows them to stomach these things. Like, even everything that I just told you. And I haven't even told you everything. Right. People think this is creepy, but I'm not afraid of death. So these things, and I think that's another part that allows you to be more spiritually connected to these other things when you're not afraid of death. I think you shut off a lot when you have this fear of this unknown. But my great grandmother, I used to sleep in her bed. And my friends never knew that my bed was her bed. And they were like, you let us sleep in that bed? And I was like, what are you scared of? She was legit the most peaceful fucking woman on the goddamn planet. Like, she wouldn't hurt a fucking fly. If anything, this is good company to be in, right? I slept in her room and I slept in her bed until I moved. So for like 3 years, I slept in her bed. The bed she died in.
No, but you know what? I'm while we're sitting here and we're talking about this, I'm thinking about my mom, and my mom was like, she would always think of people, and then, let me check and see if they're on Facebook, because I was thinking about them, see how they doing, and everybody that she thought about when she looked them up, they had died. Like, that was, and so she was like,
Judy, don't be looking for me on Facebook.
She was like, she was like, I don't know why this is happening all of a sudden. I said, it's not all of a sudden. This is always happening. And she said, what you mean this is always happening? I always tell this story. I dated a guy when I was in high school. He had a go-to friend right in the front.
All right, stop.
Yeah. And he was out in the streets. He was a drug dealer. But either way, I was in high school and I went off to college, but we still communicated with each other. And so, like, one day I was home for Christmas break. And when I came home for Christmas break when I was in college, everybody was relaxing. I had a job at home. So when I came home from Christmas break, I was working. Like, as soon as I would call them and be like, I get home on Friday, I would be on the schedule like Saturday morning. Like, that's just how it was. I was getting dressed on my way to work. My mom had made breakfast. And she said, that boy with the go-to. I said, you talking about Craig? She was like, how was he doing? She was like, he been on my mind. And I said, well, Mom, last time I talked to him, he had just had a daughter, like there was a baby or whatever. I said, but he was doing good. He was at Norfolk State, like he was going to school, like all these things. And so while I was waiting for Mom to cook breakfast, I sat down and I was reading the newspaper. Who reads newspapers anymore? And I opened up the paper and there it was. He had got shot and killed the night before. I hadn't talked to this man in months and hadn't really thought about him. And my mother said that. And I sat down and I opened the paper and I screamed. And my mom and dad were like, what is wrong? And I was like, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. My mom was like, who are you talking about? I said, you just asked me about him 5 minutes ago. So when I told her that, I said, you've been doing this for years. You just don't now you're just thinking about it, but you've always done this. And she was like, oh my God. Like, because it was something that was so normal, like she didn't put 2 and 2 together. But now as my mother has gotten older, you know, you try to look up your friends, see who's still around, who's not around. And it's just because people are older, it's becoming more frequent, but it's every time and this is, I think the last time she told me, it was probably like the 3rd or 4th time in a row that it had happened and she thought about somebody and they had already passed away.
But I think when we talk about the spiritual side of death, I think there are certain religions that respect death so much that people who have these gifts, they encourage you to tune in to tune them to where you actually can use these to be of a benefit to you and others. So, you know, people who get visions, you know, they're like, okay, what can you do to enhance that, to tap into that? Like, what do you want to know? And I know people are just like, fortune tellers aren't real. And, you know, tarot readers, they don't know your life. And, you know, getting your divination is not a real thing. But I feel like all of these things have to do with spirit. And there are some people who have fully embraced their gifts, so they become good at these things. So there are some tarot readers that are just full of shit. Right. But I think there are some people who are using their gifts. They're not going on your social media and skimming through your entire life. Excuse me. And then connecting some dots that way to give you a reading. There are some people who genuinely have gifts and they have the space to like tap into them. And so I feel like that's why it's very common in New Orleans for people to subscribe to this stuff, or they actually believe this stuff, or when these things are happening, they can attest to it. You know, I have friends who are from Louisiana and none of this is weird to them.
Not at all.
I've had some who they weren't really sure. They did a temperature check and like, girl, you don't think I'm crazy, and they start talking about spirits and I'd be like, why would I think that's crazy? Like, anything's possible. I don't think these things do not sound crazy to me, because I acknowledge that spirituality doesn't look like one thing. Spirituality is, and I know some people scoff at this, but religion and being religious and being spiritual, they can be aligned and they can coincide together, but they are not the same thing. You do not need to practice a religion to be spiritual. And I think we need to talk about spiritual death too, because some people think that when you do not practice a religion, or you don't go worship in a synagogue, temple, church, kingdom hall, whatever, you have no spiritual relationship at all. How dare you
That's not true.
Assume that I am spiritually unconnected and cut off because I'm not doing what you're doing. You, for all the people who believe in the Bible and have a Bible, I can't quote scripture like I used to, but I can tell you that in your Bible, there were men of God who communed wherever the fuck they were at, and they received God's blessing. They heard God's voice. Like Moses, Abraham, these niggas out in the fucking wilderness, out in the middle of goddamn nowhere. Ain't no churches out there. Ain't no temples. Ain't nowhere for them to go get on their knees except for the bare fucking dirty ass ground. and commune with the Lord.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I know the Lord is usually a title used for Jesus, but y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about.
We know what you mean, girl.
So you don't need that type of grounding. And on top of that, you know, a lot of these religious organizations, they're run by imperfect humans.
Yep.
So me personally, I'm not finna let, whether you're ordained, you say you're ordained by a higher power or not, you're not gonna tell me how the fuck I get to live my life.
Right.
While I watch you live your life in a way that doesn't align with what you're telling me.
Right.
But I still feel like my spirituality is important to me.
Yes.
I have to be connected in some type of way, whether that's to spirit of people, spirit of animals, spirit of nature.
Right.
You know, I listen, spirituality and death, I think they go hand in hand on so many things.
Yeah.
Like, I've even brought plants back to life. I don't think that happens with a motherfucker who's spiritually disconnected.
Right. I want for people to, you know, people always make fun of when they say they're more, when people are like, I don't really practice religion, I'm more spiritual. People always like to laugh at people
Yes,
when they say
do.
that. But I mean, there was a time, I said that a lot. And I've said that a lot, just because I wasn't in a space where I wanted to be affiliated with any religion. Like, I was raised a Baptist. The Baptist is in me. But it, I
mean, it's a choice too. And I think we're adults, we're old enough to say what you want to do in life.
And that's the thing, is that I'm definitely not a, you know, shove it down your throat religion person. I don't want to be, and if I start to be that way, please tell me and push me to the side.
I mean, I think there's levels to it.
Yes.
Because there are some people who they know other people that's not their thing, and they'll still send them stuff. My mom was good for that, and I think people do it in this instance. They do mean well, but no. I think they have to understand that if that isn't something that other people subscribe to, right, and you're sending it to them like, well, I think it's just a good word. Like, don't think about it in this way. Just think about it from a general perspective. And even the best people do it. Like, oh, I know, Sunita, I know you're not into this, but you've done it.
Oh, I know.
I'm going to send this to you. I think people want to share. And it's like, but still at the same time, be respectful, because if I was a Satanist, would you like it if I sent stuff to you?
Right. No, I got you.
You see, like, and people are like, oh, that's extreme. That's a religion.
Right.
And I could believe, I don't, even though people have called me a Satan worshiper. I'd be like, do you even know what the fuck Satan worshipers do?
No.
That's a whole nother conversation.
They just want to say something to try to insult you. That's it.
But listen, this is definitely sidebar, but there are far more people in the world that are actually practicing the beliefs of Satanism unknowingly, just by their daily behavior.
Oh God.
Because it's not what people think it is. It's just the teachings of Satanism. They're very self-centered. You put yourself ahead of anything and anybody. So ahead of your wife, your children, your mother.
So they're capitalists.
Pretty much. I mean, if you center yourself at all times and you are number one, whether it harms people or not, that's one of the core teachings of Satanism. How do I know this? Because I read about religions. That shit don't scare me. I read it because it's interesting to me to see how people have spiritual relationships, and most people do it through religion.
Yeah.
But I'm here to tell you, you don't have to. It's
right.
All of this is a choice, especially when you're a kid. It's really not, because a lot of parents are just like, well, this what I do, this what you finna be.
Yep.
And it is very common for parents to get upset when their children choose to be a different religion
Oh, yes.
from what they are.
Yes.
But it's spiritual relationships are very personal.
Child.
Regardless of if you believe in God, believe in the universe. I have people scoff at me because I'll be like, the universe, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Honestly, I don't even think the universe is a vast enough way to describe higher powers.
Right.
Because I think there are bigger things than the universe.
Right.
Like death is one of those things. We don't know the intricacies of that, but we do know spirit exists.
Correct.
The people have different definitions of spirit and soul. So even with the afterlife, it's like there are some people who believe that humans are a soul, they don't have a soul.
I don't think I've ever heard that one.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh.
So that's why they're like, when you die, you return to the dirt.
Got it.
Right? But here's my thing. Why this doesn't make sense, right? If we are a soul, we don't have a soul. How are we resurrected? So how it was explained to me as a kid is you might be resurrected, but you won't have the same body. So how will your people know it's you? Well, they will know that it's you. How does that happen if the person doesn't have a soul?
Look at me. I'm like, but wait. So if they say humans are souls and we return to the dirt, what's that number? The 140?
144,000.
Where they going? Where are they at?
Right. What do they have?
Where do they have? Because don't they go to heaven? Is that what it?
Yes.
Okay, but I thought we all went to the dirt. Okay.
No, the 144,000 don't.
So they
ascend.
Oh. Girl, that's just like that day when I came out and I couldn't find Nisha, and I was like, Lord, she done been raptured. And they left me there.
But this is exactly what I'm not trying to make fun of people who Jehovah's Witnesses, but it's like sit with the things that you believe about spirit.
Yes.
Because make it make sense.
Yeah. No.
Even with Jesus in y'all's Bible, whatever version you read, whether it's a New World Translation, the King James version, the Old English version, whatever.
The NIV.
Right. Whichever version you were reading. Yes, Jesus was half celestial.
He was a demigod.
Right? But this is the crazy thing, and we're totally going off track. Jesus wasn't always a demigod.
Right.
So how does this happen without a spirit somewhere in play, right? You reside in heaven, and you weren't even one of the oldest angels.
Right.
Okay. You had Michael.
Mm-hmm.
But it's weird because he was Michael first. When he came down to earth, he became Jesus. He was no longer Michael. So you were Michael, but you are not even the oldest angel. Gabriel was older than you.
Right.
But you know who was older than all of them? Satan.
So I was going to say Satan.
So he was Lucifer at first. And then when God was like, I've had enough of you. Stop questioning about it. Get your ass out of here.
Yeah.
That's when he became Satan. But you see all of these things, but they're not spirits.
Right.
They're not spirits.
It's a lot. It's a whole lot.
So, but we're made in the image of God.
Yes.
But we have no spirit.
Right. No,
but
I don't
Holy
believe it.
Spirit.
I don't believe it.
The Holy Spirit exists and it moves us. How?
Yeah, I got you. I mean, but I think that was again those types of things about religion was why a lot of people walk away from it.
Yeah, well, you look for answers.
Yeah.
Because I think the world does need to make sense to people.
Yeah.
Right? I don't begrudge anyone who needs answers. Right? Because I've no longer put myself in a position to blindly follow any male Homo sapien ever again. And most of religions are ran by male Homo sapiens.
Mm-hmm.
Respect that.
I mean, and
Right?
look, in the ones that are lightweight run by women give you eating disorders. That's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation.
Because they have internalized misogyny.
Yes.
But yes, but regardless, the spiritual side of death, I think it's worth exploring.
Yeah.
Regardless of if you believe in a religion, if you're atheist, like challenge your own beliefs. Like,
yeah,
for me, I believe shit that I know spirit isn't tangible, but
right.
If I have a experience that's tangible for me,
yeah,
like I experienced this. I didn't
right.
make this up. And there are so many people in the world who have had similar experiences to me, and even more in depth, that there's no way I could say this isn't real.
Right.
Even if it's only real to me.
Right. And that's the thing, is that, again, nobody's going to tell me about my lived experience. No, you're not going to.
You don't have to believe
you don't,
it.
again, you weren't there, but I was.
Right.
You don't have to believe. But I'm going to take it and run with it.
Right. I think this is also a thing that's very important to me. It's like to be an honest person, because when these types of things happen, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass.
Right.
I'm not.
And the crazy thing is that, like, I know that there are people that are phonies and fakes and will blow smoke up your ass, but like, for the sake of people that like, you would never come and tell me some shit like that and be like, and I would be like, why is this half alive? I would never, you understand what I'm saying? And like, because of like the things that happen to me, because I don't talk about them frequently. Like, if I came to you and I was like, girl, you would be like, bitch, like you.
Yes.
And it's because it's not something, again, just because the masses it's not something that the masses would openly accept. Let me say that. So you're not going to run around here and tell people, because, again, loony bin, like you said in Constantine, they would be like, we need to get her
lock her the fuck up.
We need to get her on some meds. So,
but I think too, people behave that way when it comes to the spiritual side of anything, not even just death, because they're afraid. It's pure fear. People don't talk about it.
Right.
Like, they really be on, so we don't talk about Bruno type of shit.
Yes.
But the family knows.
Yes.
The family knows. Just like my family, I have a cousin, and everyone calls her fucking cuckoo also. But why? Why y'all call her cuckoo? And I spent time with her, and she was like, they call me cuckoo because my beliefs don't align with their religious beliefs. But I know what I know, cousin. And I was like, I believe you. You don't have to convince me, girl. I believe you.
Child, that's what I'm saying. It's like, those who know.
Yeah. But I think it's crazy because my mother has these years too, and she'll say little things on the side, but then it's weird. It's like something glazes over and she goes back to, yeah, but Jehovah. And it's like, why are you being weird? Like, if you know this to be true, like, two things can be true at once. You could be a Jehovah's Witness and also believe that other things are happening outside of this religion.
So, okay.
Without blaming it all on the devil.
I'm going to save this for your episode about spirituality, because I have a question about your mama and being a Jehovah's Witness. So, but we're going to save that. Because we can, if we start talking, drink champs. If we start going, if we get into it, it'll be a drink champs episode.
So my family might find me and try to burn me. Get this Joan of Arc heretic the fuck out of here.
All right. All right.
I'm not afraid of them hoes. Come at me.
Come at me, bro. But
until then, yes, challenge yourself. And we got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week.
Yes.
More spirituality.
Yes. Not death, but more spirituality.
Yeah, no. The heaviness, I feel like that's also been taking a toll. Like, oh, we got to do this heavy essence. to.
Well, good God, I think my spiritual journey is next week.
It's feast.
Yes. So
Yes, so get
it's-
ready, buddy.
It's gonna be interesting to talk about. It's gonna be interesting to talk about.
The floor is yours.
Yes. It's gonna be fun.
We'll be back next week, y'all. Ciao. If I can find my mouse.